Good morning, and we are in chapter 29 today. Jacob meets Rachel at the well. He serves Laban 7 years for her. Laban gives to Jacob first Leah and then Rachel in marriage. Jacob serves another 7 years, and Leah bears Reuben, Simeon, and Levi and Judah. So we're getting into the tribes of Israel. Which aren't called the tribes of Israel yet. They're called the sons of Jacob. Then Jacob went on his journey and came to the land of the people of the east. And he looked and beheld a well in the field, and lo, there were 3 flocks of sheep lying by it. For out of the well they watered their flocks, and a great stone was upon the well's mouth. I don't know if this is the same well that his father's servant went to, but it could be. And thither were all the flocks gathered, and they rolled the stone from the well's mouth, and watered the sheep, and put the stone again upon the well's mouth in his place. And Jacob said unto them, My brethren, whence be ye? And they said, Of Haran are we. And he said unto them, Know ye Laban, the son of Nahor? And they said, We know him. And he said unto them, Is he well? And they said, He is well. And behold, Rachel, his daughter, cometh to sheep. Obviously, they were waiting there too, maybe. I don't know. And he said, Lo, it is yet high day, neither is it time for cattle should be gathered together. Water ye the sheep, and go feed them. And they said, We cannot until all the flocks be gathered together. And we've got in the footnotes Samaritan and Septuagint, the shepherds. So all the shepherds gathered together until they roll the stone from the well's mouth. Then we watered the sheep. And he spake with them. Rachel came with her father's sheep, for she kept them. And it came to pass that when Jacob saw Rachel, there's another one of those love stories again, the daughter of Laban, his mother's brother, and the sheep of Laban, his mother's brother, that Jacob went near and rolled the stone from the well's mouth, and watered the flocks of Laban, his mother's brother. And Jacob kissed Rachel and lifted up a voice and wept. Now, from this, I think it was more of those kiss on the cheeks when you meet somebody, because we'll see that happens when he meets Laban as well. And Jacob and Rachel told Rachel that he was his father's brother, and that he was Rebekah's son. And she ran and told her father. And it came to pass that Laban heard the tidings of Jacob, his sister's son, that he ran to him, and embraced him, and kissed him, and brought him to his house. And he told Laban all these things. And Laban said unto him, Surely thou art my bone and my flesh. And he abode with him the space of a month. Quite a long time, isn't it? And Laban said unto Jacob, Because thou art my brother, shouldest thou therefore serve me for naught? Tell me, what shall be thy wages be? And Laban had 2 daughters, and the name of the elder was Leah, and the name of the younger was Rachel. And Leah was tender-eyed, but Rachel was beautiful and well-favored. That's been described as different things. I think it just means that Leah was cute, but Rachel was beautiful. And, I'm taking it in my own context, how I'd see it. Leah was nice, but he was more smitten with Rachel and her beauty. And Jacob loved Rachel and said, I will serve thee 7 years, and Rachel for thy younger daughter, for Rachel thy younger daughter. And Laban said, it is better that I give her to thee than I should give her to another. Abide with me. It sounds almost flippant in the way he says that, but I think he's just saying, I think it's a good deal. I think I'd rather have her marry you than some of the people around here that I've met. I like you better than them. And Jacob served 7 years for Rachel, and they seemed to him but a few days for the love he had for her. So he worked hard, and he probably saw her and courted her, whatever they do back then, and was just happy to be there. And Jacob said unto Laban, give me my wife, for my days are fulfilled, that I may go in unto her. And Laban gathered together all the men of the place and made a feast. And it came to pass that in the evening that he took Leah his daughter and brought her to him, and he went in unto her. Now, why was there plural marriages in the Old Testament? We can always go back to what we talked about before on that. But there's also another thing here. And Laban gave unto his daughter Leah Zilpah his handmaid for a handmaid, his maid for a handmaid. And it came to pass in the morning, behold, it was Leah. So Jacob seems to have been tricked here a little bit, and that he didn't find out until the morning, after he'd already had the night and everything. And he said unto Laban, what hast thou done unto me? Did not I serve thee for Rachel? Therefore then hast thou beguiled me. Now, first of all, they're sisters, so sometimes sisters can look a little bit alike. Second of all, veils were often used, even in the scriptures that we've listened here. And it could have been the fact that on the wedding night or whatever, they use a veil. And so he might not have known exactly who he was with. Third, if he had been, I don't know the ceremonies that they had back then to be married, but he would have been legally given to her before he had seen who it was. So I don't know. And remember, this is about more than just trying to get every historical fact perfect. It's about what is happening in the story. He has now become married to Leah, and Leah was the eldest, and you think he would have understood that it's something that Laban seems to have left out. Oh yeah, by the way, you need to marry the firstborn first. Laban said, it must not be done in our country to give the younger before the firstborn. Fulfill her week, and we will give thee this also for thy service, which thou shalt serve with me yet another 7 years. And Jacob did so and fulfilled her week, and he gave Rachel his daughter to wife also. So Leah was married 1 week. The next week, Rachel was married to him. So it wasn't like 14 years before he got to be with Rachel. He still gave Rachel, but he said Leah needs to be married first because that's what our traditions are. Laban doesn't really paint himself very well in these things. These times he seems to have become a bit of a scoundrel, a little bit. Laban gave Rachel his daughter Bilhah his handmaid to be her maid. And he went also unto Rachel, and he loved Rachel more than Leah, and served with him yet another 7 years, so 14 years altogether, and all because of Rachel. Was Leah hated by Jacob? After 7 years of labor to marry Rachel, Jacob was deceived by Laban and ended up marrying instead Rachel's older sister Leah. Jacob honored his marriage to Leah and agreed to work an additional 7 years to also marry Rachel, though we have no reason to assume that Jacob treated Leah poorly. The King James Bible states that the Lord saw that Leah was hated. Other translations use the word not loved and unloved instead of hated. Regardless of the translation, the text indicates that Jacob preferred Rachel. Similarly to Hagar's experience, God showed his tender love and care for Leah in her difficult circumstances by blessing her with children. The names Leah gave some of her sons reflect how she felt about God in her trials. I love that, and when we read these names, get an idea of how that is. And obviously, he didn't hate Leah, or else he probably would have just not had any children with her any more than he could. But it would be kind of, if you were planning on one thing and got another thing, if you think you're going to get a glass of milk and then you drink water, even though you love water and you want to drink water at times, if you're expecting a glass of milk, it isn't the same. A better example is probably something like Sprite that can look like water, but you start drinking it, it's totally different. So I think that's more of the situation here. And when the Lord saw that Leah was hated, he opened her womb, but Rachel was barren. And Leah conceived and bare a son, and called his name Reuben. I think it's really significant here as well that I don't think the Lord's being petty or something. He's teaching a lesson to all of them. And given Leah some beautiful opportunities that wasn't available to Rachel at the time. For she said, surely the Lord hath looked upon my affliction. So Reuben, let's go to the footnote here, means, look, a son. Look, isn't it great? I've got a son. And for she said, surely the Lord God looketh upon my affliction, and now therefore my husband will love me because I have a son. And like I said, she's trying to be the favorite, I think, and rightfully so. She's the older wife and everything. I just think I don't think he hates her. Or else she wouldn't be conceiving again. She conceived again and bare a son, and said, because the Lord hath heard that I was hated, he hath therefore given me also this son also. And she called his name Simeon. And again, in the footnotes, we've got hearing. So because God heard her, then his name was called Simeon. And notice what this might do with the children. They're growing up and they're getting these names that mean something to them. the Lord hearing him, Simeon, and look, you are my son. You know, it can have a positive effect on the children as they grow up, what they're called. And we've tried to do that with our children as well. And she conceived again and bare a son, and said, Now this time will my husband be joined unto me, because I have borne him 3 sons. Therefore his name is called Levi. And again, Levi is joined or pledged. That's why you look in there, my husband will be joined unto me. But also think of what Levi's, the tribe of Levi becomes. They become the ones that care for the temple. They become the priests. And she conceived again a bare son, and said, Now I will praise the Lord. And therefore she called his name Judah, which of course means praised. And left bearing, so basically she's done bearing children at this time, which kind of indicates in one sense that maybe she was getting old and couldn't bear anymore, or something like that. But she's not finished yet. We'll find out. But I hope you've gained something from this, and maybe if anything, just the love that was in these things, and also we're starting to set up the Israel